Hello everyone, Nasa Plays here, and welcome back to NMA 101. Today we'll be focusing on the first session of the first course, known as MNFT 100, also known as Minecraft Fundamentals 100. In today's video, we'll be going over the settings, F3 screen, and everything before world generation. I do want to note, Noot and Bubbles will not be appearing until episode 3, so it'll be by myself for the first 2 episodes. I do want to note before we get started, please make sure to check video 1, well technically video 0, as this is video 1, where we go over the syllabus and talk about what the course is going to be. Without further ado, let us get in today's lesson. Alright, so first off, we're going to be going over the settings. Now, as you can see, I'm in a fresh Minecraft world. This will be the world that I will be using to show you guys how to play. Now, down the road, I will be adding Essentials, which is a Minecraft mod that basically adds friends onto this single player, so that's not required if you want to do this. So to begin, we're going to be pressing Escape, going into Options, and this is where most of your settings will be found. So first, we're going to be going into Video Settings. From here, these are all like your video settings and the world-based stuff. So first thing I want to show you is full screen resolution. That's basically setting it to your screen if you don't want the windowed display. I can press F11 and I'll go into a full screen. We're not going to do that. Next is max frame rate. This is basically how fast you want Minecraft to run. If you want to set a cap for the frame rate, you can. I personally use unlimited and VSync off. Of course, if your game can't handle that, set it to your desired preference. Next is reduce FPS while AFK. This will reduce the game's frame rate to 30 when you're not in game. So that helps with your lagging a bit. GUI scale, this basically, as you can see, shows different levels of scale of the screen. I personally set it to auto or 3. This basically allows you to have the scale how you want. Brightness is brightness of the game. I personally would set it to bright if you're doing normal Minecraft, moody if you're doing like a spooky thing. It really doesn't really matter. The next, I want to show you the presets for quality. So first we're going to go over fast. Fast is the fastest quality. You're not going to have that big of a quality with this. So as you can see, the biggest quality change I would say is leaves. As you can see with leaves here, they're kind of just like no air in them. They look pretty blocky and not that good looking. This is the cheapest of all the settings that will make quality run your game. Next, we're going to go to fancy. Fancy is like the middle of the road settings. So as you can see, the trees do look a bit better now. The quality is a little bit better. The trees have the air in them, and they have very nice detail. I usually set it to fancy because it's the best out of both worlds. And if you have mods and stuff, it just makes it look better as well. So the final setting is going to be fabulous. Only run this if your computer can handle it. Fabulous basically makes it so leaves fall from the trees. I think that's also in fancy too, but I prefer fancy as it's a bit nicer. So we're going to set it back to fancy for performance reasons. I believe the leaves still fall. Yes, they still fall. Alright, so biomes, stuff like that, clouds, and render distance. This is basically how far your world will load to you. So if I set it to say 6, you're going to notice the world doesn't generate far beyond us. It's foggy. Well, say if I set it to render distance like 12 or 16, you're going to get far more view in front of you. And it means there'll be 16 chunks in front of you. I would say keep this roughly around 8 to 16, so you have no lag. Simulation distance is somewhat similar. Sometimes when you hover over these, you'll get information based on what they are. If you want more in-depth descriptions, please let me know, and I'll be happy to make a Google Doc that explains it all. Next, smooth lighting. So smooth lighting is basically so lighting doesn't look choppy or chunky. It like spreads out evenly. I recommend keeping this on because it does not affect your performance and actually makes the game look so much better. Clouds. This is a heavy topic. If you don't want clouds bugging you when you're building high heights, disable clouds. Particles. These are like fancy little particles that you see from things and stuff like that. I'd recommend keeping that all. If you are lagging, set it to minimal. Next, we are going to be going over audio. This is your master menu for audio. All the audio is here. So, this is your master volume. It'll go up and down. All the volumes. Music. Not many people like the Minecraft music. I tend to turn it off. If you are recording or streaming, I recommend turning it off because Minecraft music is somewhat copyrighted, so you can get striked. So, that's a well-known note. Jukebox and note blocks. These are specific to the block. These will basically show how loud the note blocks or jukebox is. Weather. First it says weather. It determines the sound of the weather. Hostile mobs specifically targets mobs like zombies, skeletons, all that stuff, which we'll explain those in the combat section and the mob section. Friendly mobs, same typical deal. Players are specifically player stuff. The narrator / voice. People sometimes turn on narrator if they need something to read to them or explain what something is if they're hard of hearing or something like that. I personally don't turn it on because it's annoying. Yeah. UI and ambient environment explain themselves too. Device system. So this basically is your headphones. So what system your sound is coming from. Directional audio is basically stereo. That'll be part of your headphones. If you have headphones, that works normally. Music frequency changes how many times the music will change or be played. Closed captions, obviously, is closed captions. It'll pop up on the side of your screen. It'll show that is. So, next we're going to be going over skin customization. This is nothing really. This is basically your skin. So, if you want to turn off certain aspects of your skin, you can. I would say don't really mess with this unless you know about skins. And next we'll be going over controls and some other settings. So next I'll be showing you keybinds. This will be in controls and keybinds. This basically is all where you're going to see all your buttons that you know for playing Minecraft. So you're going to have jump, base, sneak, all that fun stuff. The F keys are special, like F2 is a screenshot. You can toggle a GUI, so you won't be able to see the GUI if you press F1. Cinematic camera, stuff like that. Of course, F3 will be debug stuff. It's somewhere in there. You have the multiplayer stuff. You have gameplay. You have all the hotbar keybinds, including creative mode, spectator, and of course the F3 with the debug. You're gonna find all these keys that you'll be able to see that'll help you in the long run. However, we are going to show an example of what happens when you bind it to something else. Say you put strafe right as also A. You're going to notice it's errored. So what you would do is also the key is used for strafe left and reload chunks. So you're going to click reset and that'll fix that. Now, there is two options. There's auto jump and sprint and sneak. You can use toggle or hold. So I'm going to show what sneak is. So just press shift. It'll be a toggle. However, if you use hold, you will physically have to hold the key. Auto jump, however, this is one of the more annoying ones. It actually auto jumps for you when you go up to a block. Now, for the sake of Minecraft, it's done is off. I recommend you do it off because it can get very annoying when you're playing maps and Minecraft in general. Now we are going to be moving into one of the more difficult topics of this session, the F3 screen. So on your keyboard, you should see F3 at the top of your keyboard. When you press it, you're going to see this screen. This is the debug screen. This will tell you everything you need to know about your world and what's going on. So first you can see there's fancy clouds, you have your memory, your allocation rate, and the allocated space. XYZ is your coordinates. X is east to west, Y is going to be your height, and Z is north to south, as you can see here. The block is called what block you're on. The chunk is which specific chunk you are in. You have the direction, and of course you have the Minecraft overworld. That basically explains everything else. Now there is something here. There is a way to edit F3. It's F3 and F6. This will enable the F3 screen to edit what you want. So for example, you add the biome, it'll add the biome to your F3 screen. GPU utilization, height maps, all that. All this you can change and help in your F3 screen. So as you can see, I now have the biome level set, or what biome I am in the screen. So if I look, you are going to see that I am currently in the old growth birch forest. And as you can see, it'll change depending on what biome I am in. Now I have three F3 combos I want to focus on to show you certain things. So first will be F3G. This will show you the chunk borders of said world. These are 16 by 16 block chunks that basically make up your world. These go from the height limit to the bottom of the world, and this basically help you say if you're like piecing together a grid for your builds, this will help. Next is F3B, which is actually entity hitboxes. This will show where the mob's hitboxes are. As you can see, the cow has a hitbox like this. And based on the mob you're going to have, it's going to be smaller or bigger. What are you looking at? So basically, entity hitboxes are good for speed running. It'll also show you which way they're facing. There's another one called F3H. This will enable advanced tooltips. So if you're a builder in Minecraft, you're going to want the IDs of blocks because it'll help with using commands like world edit and fill commands, everything like that. So right here, if I hover over a block after using F3H, it'll show you the ID, the name, and how many components it has. If I remove that, it gets rid of that. So say if I grab a sword, this is the netherite sword, it has 8 attack damage, 1.6 attack speed. If I enable tooltips, you'll see now it shows the ID, components, and what thing it's from. There's one more thing I want to do before we move on from the F3 section. This is the light level. So if you go in here, you're going to see that light level is not currently in here. We're going to press F3 and F6. We're going to find the light levels right here in the debug options, and we're going to click to in overlay. As you can see now, we should have client light level. Now, you will see client light says 15. This means it is the maximum amount of Minecraft light can provide. It'll show how many is from a block and how much is from the sky. So currently we have 15 blocks from the sky. If we make a 3x3 like this, you're now going to see we now have only 13 blocks of light. This will change depending on what block you use. So as you can see, if I make a little box here, the light will slowly disappear. As you see now, there is 0 light. What you can do to test this is go into controls. You're going to see there is something called operator items. Turn that on. If you're an operator in the server or world, you will get some additional blocks that will help you with like Minecraft debugs. There's like debug stick, barriers. So based on this, we're going to show you different light levels. So if I use light level 7 with the light block, you will see there's only 4 blocks of light spanning from the block. This means a light level of 7 means it'll branch out 7 blocks from said block. So say if I put 9 blocks, you'll see if I stand directly on it, it's 9, but if I walk 1 or 2 blocks away, it'll go down to 6. This is because how the light blocks work. These are invisible blocks and will affect based on what you want. That's typically how light levels work. And with that, that is session 1 of MNFT 100. In this video, we discussed the keybinds, controls, and the video settings, and most of the settings you'll need for your smooth Minecraft world. Now, I will note that F3 screen is not required for the series. I know the syllabus says it probably will be. It's not going to be. It's only going to be used when we 100% need it. Now, in the next video, we'll be covering session 2, where we'll be loading the actual world and all the settings dedicated to making the worlds. I will note that this session will release probably first in the same week as video 1. video 0. Each video will be releasing weekly, so session 2 will be releasing next Wednesday from this video as you're watching it now. If you have any questions, please ask me. Also, I am considering making a Patreon. This will basically mean you will get the course videos early, and any other videos that I make in the future will be early. It will also help me support the channel, and I can hopefully make better content for you guys. Other than that, that was session 1, and I will see you guys in session 2 of MNFT 100. Thanks for watching.